I'm on the cloud, floating around, looking down. Nothing but pain and empty faces all around. I'd like to see a new
So Marco this evening, I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Marco Mendoza. Marco has just recently released his latest solo album, New Direction, courtesy of Mighty Music, and is just about to embark on a 10-date UK tour, kicking off tomorrow night in Swansea, Hangar 18. So make sure you check out marcomendoza.com for availability of tickets. Marco, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Mark. I'm okay, man. You know, smack in the middle of a long tour.
Yeah.
But I can't help it but to be grateful for all the work and all the invitations everywhere. And I'm doing good, man. I'm, blown away at how many gigs have been piling up. And the little story behind that is that I started here back in March.
Yeah.
The end of March. And initially, this is what we were going to do. I got invited to do the bass and guitar convention, guitar show, the UK bass and guitar show back in 20. We know what happened in 20. It was April of 20. We know what happened. So everything got moved. There was a possibility it might happen at the end of 21st, 21, and it didn't happen. So finally, at the beginning of the year, I started getting some calls about, possibly Neal started possibly happening, and expressed, asked me if they would love to have me. And I said, would I still be interested? I said, absolutely. So long story short, once I committed to that and then I knew it was happening, I put some feelers out to see if we could do some shows, because I was flying all the way from LA. And then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it's a shame that I fly that far for one show. So I put some feelers out, and we managed to get 8, 9, 10 shows. And once we announced those, everybody came in. Spain, France, Holland, Romania, Hungary, and so on and so on. Never ending.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's great, man. It's been a great run.
So have you been on the road roughly since March?
Roughly, yeah, since March. Yeah.
Wow,
I mean, there's been a few breaks here and there, but no, it's considering, what we're dealing with, still the remains of the pandemic and the war and the economy and all that. I choose to be grateful, man. It's the bottom line,
Yeah.
And we deal with the obstacles as much as best as we can. Sometimes it's harder than other times, but at the end of the day, I tell myself, first of all, I'm playing my music. It's my solo thing that I'm doing, and people pay to come see me, however small or large or whatever. So that's what we're doing. I choose to live there.
Yeah.
We're having a great time. I mean, the band is great. We just did this festival up in Inverness, and I was told it was one of the highlights. People were really happy, and so it's a good time. It's a good time on stage, regardless of the circumstances, and so we're trying to make the best of it, and trying to get everybody, including your audience, to consider this, not only with me, but to consider a world without venues to go listen to live music at, to consider not supporting your local artists and local talent. There's a lot of it. And it's an industry that needs to be supported by the fans. So, I keep talking about this. I don't mean to sound like I'm preaching, but it's a fact. It's a fact of what's going on. And I think there's a lot of fans that understand that, and they're doing their part by showing up to gigs and supporting their local venues, however big or small.
Yeah.
Because they do make a difference, big time,
Yeah.
So other than that, I mean, I'm doing good, man. I don't mind telling you, I'm a little fatigued.
You'd have to be after a run like that. You only human at the end of the day, I suppose. And the
Yes,
adrenaline kicks in when the showtime comes on, I'm sure, but you must be feeling tired afterwards.
you do, and that's it, which is why we appreciate it, and I love it. I can't wait. We just had dinner with the guys, and if it were up to me, I'd have a gig every night
Yeah.
because that's the icing on the cake, if you will. You know, you go through all these changes, you travel, you don't sleep enough, you eat the wrong foods, you don't exercise, you're burning the candles sometimes, and at both ends, and then but the highlight is even sound check is exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know what I mean, because all of a sudden the music takes over and it's very powerful, man. It's very healing to me,
Yeah.
and it's my therapy. It's my therapist. It's my counselor. It's my lover. It's my friend. It's my wife. It's my husband. It's all of it, all of the above. So so yeah, I've developed and I've said this before. I've developed a bit of an addiction to it. So when it's not happening, we've had a couple of runs where we had a few days off, and it's like it's weird, you know.
Yeah.
It's weird,
Yeah.
especially when you're not home. And
Yeah.
I'm talking to my family and my kids, and I wish I could be there and all that. So it takes a little bit of focus and a psychological strength, you know, to and be spiritually. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
I pray a lot, to be
Yeah.
honest, just to
I'm sure it must be hard, Marco, because obviously being on the road so long, as you say, away from family, friends, from a normal routine, because you guys obviously have to live out of the back of a van or a tour bus, whatever it is,
yeah,
whatever level you're at, and it is demanding, absolutely demanding over that length of time.
it is. And I'm glad you brought up that point because I've been one of those lucky guys when you say whatever level you're at. I I I,
You've
I
seen it
can
all.
on I can honestly say that I've been spoiled. I've been very lucky, very privileged to be on top of the game, if you will. You know, flying on private jets and on quite a few occasions, staying in five-star hotels. And but at the end of the day, Mark, it's about the music, what happens on stage.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't understand. So for me, obviously, you know, I'm at the sophomore stage of my solo career, if you want to call it whatever. I'm pretty much starting from the bottom up. You know, I've been doing that for a few years, and yeah, you get tested,
Yeah.
and especially right now, um, with the economy being what it is, and shows being rescheduled and canceled, and the pre-sale tickets are down to an all-time low. The venue owners and the agents freak out a little bit, you
Mm.
know. But I tell everybody, the last thing you want to do, and I say this with all the love and respect because I know what it takes to own a venue. I've had some experience in that department too. It's another interview, but uh, you have to go through the painstaking process of rolling. You have to roll the dice
Yeah.
if you want to stay in the game. It's very easy for me and for anybody. It's very easy to pull the plug and say, okay, the finances are not here. It's looking bad, so I'm just going to pull away. You got to stay in the game, you know, in order to survive the storm, you know. And again, I understand the stress of going through it, but it's what it is. Again, pointing back to the fans, you know, the fans will keep the doors open. The doors will stay open. There'll be new talent coming through, and you'll have live music, and it's one of those things that it's a chain, you know. It's
Yeah.
links that hold the chain together. One of the links breaks, then you have to try and reconnect, and it weakens the thing. I know I'm
Yeah.
getting too deep in that subject, but it seems to be
No,
the
it's
topic everywhere.
yeah, it's very relevant at the moment. It was interesting. I was watching a video earlier on today. A couple of musicians talking, guys out of Polyphia and Herman Lee from Dragon Force, and they were just
Mhm.
talking about the importance of fans purchasing those pre-sale tickets because at the moment of the uncertainty,
Yes.
it gives bands and artists the confidence that when they go on tour, that people are going to turn up, but equally
Yeah.
that the tour is viable because you guys are obviously, such an expensive thing for you guys to, especially internationally, come from the likes
Yeah.
of the States. You got visas,
Yes.
you've got traveling, fuel,
Hmm.
accommodation, whatever may be involved. So it's as you say, gamble for venues, but for
Yeah.
you guys as well, the risk
Yeah.
is massive. So it's very important.
Yeah. Having said that, the other side of the coin is we got hit with the biggest awakening that could happen in any industry, but not to mention ours. But imagine somebody like me, and without sounding pretentious, I've been very lucky, man. I've been around for a long time, and I've gone from project to project, to tour, to album to album, nonstop. It's been one of those. Now, all of a sudden, 20 hits, and there's nothing on. It's zero.
Yeah.
Boom. I mean, I couldn't even hear the crickets.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear there was no crickets. But so coming out of that, I choose to live here, choose to live in the fact that I'm here in Wales and we're playing tomorrow night locally, and we're trying to do the best we can to invite people. And again, I'm supporting an album that was not supposed to come out this year because there was talks from the label, and based on what the conditions today, uh, based on the environment that we're working at, it was talked about maybe releasing it next year, 23. And so I went against all odds, and I booked dates, and I started going, and then the label decided, well, he's out there. Let's just release it. It's time. It's time.
Mm.
So I choose to believe that one of the main reasons why it got released is because I'm out here playing everywhere I can, and I'm getting invited here and there. So it creates that symbiotic thing. It creates rhythm and sales and interest and promotion and marketing.
Yeah.
So I choose to live there. I choose to live the fact that it's been, I don't know how many dates, a lot of them, and I'm grateful. And I get to grab my bass, play my music to the fans that do show up, that gamble, because it is a thing for them too. And I have to say, without sounding pretentious, the shows are really good.
Yeah.
There's great energy. There's positive energy. There's optimistic point of view in life, in our conditions right now. So that's what it takes. That's my point. So I feel there's a purpose behind it all, and for me, that makes it just a little better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
if there's 30 people, 40 people in the audience, or if there's a couple of hundred, we've done quite a few thousands. We've done shows where in France, I did a show, I headlined a 3,000 seater, and it was packed. And uh, so, it's one of those all over the place kind of thing.
yeah.
But our job is to create that good vibe, have them spend a good couple hours of fun, disengaged from the problems of the day or the week or the month or the world, period, and just have a good time and support the music, that I'm doing. My original music it's been so well accepted, and it's been loved, and people are digging it. That's what fuels me, Mark. That's what at the end of the day.
Yeah.
This is my
Absolutely.
job. This is my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what I do. So I got to keep doing it regardless of the circumstances and the conditions. This is my job. What am I going to do?
Absolutely.
Go home?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been
Absolutely.
home. I've been home for 2 years. So,
Yeah. And
so
out of curiosity, so how many of the new songs on the new album are you bringing to the live show?
so far we're doing three,
Hmm.
the singles, and we're trying to figure out what the next single is going to be. Probably for the next year now.
Yeah.
So we're doing three. We do. I don't like to talk about it. I like to surprise people, but we're doing three. I was
Yeah.
going to tell you the titles, but let's
Yeah.
just say they were they were favorites, and people just love them. And I'm to my surprise, people show up and sing along. I'm watching out, and I'm like, oh, cool, man, very cool. So a lot of validation, a lot of love, a lot of respect, mutual respect. And yeah, man, I keep showing up. I keep showing up, and
Yeah.
against all odds, and I don't mind telling you a couple of times. Things I won't get into the details, but things were so bad that I'm like, these are the signs. If I choose to tap into these are the signs for me to go home.
Hmm.
And I've learned in my being around the planet for quite a few years, I've learned to not react to things like that.
Yeah.
So I always tell myself, just sleep over it, wake up in the morning and see how you feel. And it's been like, no, this is my job. This is what I got to do, and I'll deal with the circumstances and come out the other side uh, like a winner that I
Yeah.
am,
Well,
regardless of the circumstances.
yeah, the reality is there's things which are out of your control. All you can control is the music and the band
Yeah,
and the performances on the night. And if you guys keep your head down, do good work, then hopefully the things will gravitate towards you. You know, that's what I always believe in life. You know, it's
absolutely.
yeah,
There's been quite a few things that I'm not allowed to talk about offered for next year. Some pretty exciting things. So that's
good.
the other thing. There's a big light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah,
huge. So you keep driving, you keep moving forward. And it takes cats like you too that I can't say thank you enough because you guys are the connection to the fans too in a big way. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing this,
no,
for
a
having me
pleasure.
on board. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and Marco, so tell me a little bit about the album itself. Then, when was that recorded?
The album we started recording back in 1935. It seems so long. No, back in 2019,
Wow.
September of 2019.
Yeah.
The reason why we started then is because 19 was the first year that I can honestly say that I had a plan. I was real busy with the Dead Daisies up until that point.
Yeah.
And so I had done a few dates here and there. I got invited here, I got invited there, but I never really focused. It was not focused work. 19, it was focused. It was like, okay, I have an album out. I haven't really, that came out the year before, and I'm getting invited to all these places. So let's focus. Let's do some promo and let's get behind it, let's talk about it and bring it to the forefront. And it was supposed to be 2, 3 months. We were looking for a singer to replace John Karabi at the Daisies. And so the dates started coming in. I said, yes, 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 with permission from management from the Daisies. They were supposed to keep me posted on, on the progress, finding a new singer. And so March turned into April, April turned into May, and I kept adding dates. So 19 was the first time that I could honestly say that it was work that was focused on Viva La Rock, the last release. And the response was over the top. Again, it was like really well received. More dates were added, more dates were added. So on a break, the label started talking to me because we had the second option, pick up the second option. If both parties decided we could pick it up. And we had a conversation with Michael, CEO of Target Mighty Music. And he says, well, so what do you think? It's just doing well. You want to do the second? And I said, absolutely, yes. So there was a period of like, I don't know, a week before my tour started. I was in LA. I flew to Copenhagen 5, 6 days before. And we started writing for the next album, 19. Went on tour. Soren Anderson, my producer, went on tour. We reconvened in December. We are so fried from touring September, October, November, 4 months. We got together, and after 2, 3 days, we just said, you know what? Let's just take a break. Christmas is upon us. And let's reconvene February of 2020. And we know what happened. So so officially, it started back in 2019, in September, and we didn't get to finish until June of 21, which was a long time.
Yeah.
So 2 years later, more than 2 years. So yeah, it was one of those things that again we came across a lot of obstacles constantly, not being able to travel. I could travel to certain countries, but I couldn't come back. And you needed this and you needed that, jumping through a lot of hoops. and a lot of false starts where the flights were booked and you get to the airport and last minute is well, can't fly now. It's like,
Yeah.
what? So a lot of that was going on, which kind of deflated the momentum. But in June, when we finally were able to get together, Soren and I got together and we heard the songs and we got motivated because we realized we had something good, some good songs there. And you know what happened? This is the other one to top it off. So we get together after all this. Imagine, can't get together, flying, that. We were even considering flying Soren to LA and doing it in LA because there's a lot of studios there available. But um, so we get there finally, jumping through all the fire and all the hoops, and he tests positive 3 days.
Yeah.
Of course. So he tests positive. I was supposed to be in the studio for 5 or 6 days to finish, and all the music was done. Basically, everything was done. We were 95% in. I was just vocals. I was, because there was a lot of what we call the scratch vocals, which is what you sing when you're writing and lyrics and just to get a basic idea. And then you come in and you perform it
Yeah.
really the best way you can. And that's what you record. So that's what you document. That's the final product. So there was a lot of scratch vocals and we changed a couple of things here and there. But he called me in the morning of the third day. He says, Marco, guess what? What, man? Are we getting together earlier now? We were all excited. He said, no, man, I can't come in. I'm sick. I'm in quarantine because in Denmark,
Yeah.
they were they control that thing, which is great, man. They got rid of it. So he tested, he couldn't leave. So I'm like, wow, deflated again, just for a couple hours. And I was on my way back to the hotel when he calls, says, you know what? Don't worry, man. I've got somebody to come in. One of his partners, Nick, who ended up working with me, and he was brilliant. Him and I had a great vibe. He did great, and we finished 2 days later, and it was done. It was one of those things. So quite a few obstacles along the way. So for me personally, and Soren, I was just talking to him earlier. I'm going to give him a call. When you put out something that people appreciate, you get a lot of validation. It kind of, it fuels the fire, if you will, to continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And him and I have a great time, man. We have a great rhythm going on. Very special.
Yeah, Soren's quite a musician, great guitar player, phenomenal guitar player, and obviously producer, and just such a talented guy all around.
Yes, definitely, and as a team, and one of the reasons I think why we get along so well and why he knows me musically is because he was my first guitar player, my first solo thing on Live for Tomorrow, which is an older album. I did a CD release party in LA, and he was my guitar player. So we've been on the road. We spent a lot of time. He understands where I kind of live, where my wheelhouse is, vocally, style wise. And he there's no boundaries with him. I just go.
Yeah.
And he guides me and he makes suggestions and he points me in the right direction and he captures the best, And we're quick too, Mark. We don't do stuff and then come back a month later and listen to it and change. We do it, come in the next day and say, yeah, that's it. Move on. Next. It's
there's something to be said about that, isn't there? Because obviously being decisive and knowing exactly what you want out of something and thinking you can say to yourself that we've nailed that. It's great quality to have. Yeah,
and the way, especially this particular album, if you take a listen, we're sensitive to the fact that we want it to be available quickly. Simplicity is the word that we kept tossing around when we were writing. Simple lyrics that are, a 10-year-old could read it and go, oh, I understand the message, and melodies are important. The choruses, the hooks are. So I think we were headed in that direction a lot more, and I dig it, man.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time. This sounds pretentious, me talking about my album, but and I'm just being honest, and I don't mean it to be in an egotistical way at all. But I'm trying to figure out what the next single is going to be, and I can't because they're so good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
this song can go in that direction. That one can go in that. And in my opinion, they're radio friendly. They got this single potential. They're not long, you know, um, introvert. I mean, heavy musically. They're just available songs, and I love. I was listening to the ballad, and the ballad is a song that I wrote with Tommy Aldrich and Doug Aldrich a few
Mm.
years back. That one and what's the other one? Light It Up. Those two tracks came from that writing session, and they're both great. They
Yeah.
have their own personality. They have their own. The playing is incredible. Soren kills it. Uh, Morton, the drummers, Morton, and my other cat, Matt, just great playing, good songs. Um, so it's a blast, man.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the results. Now we just have to, you know, take it to the people as much as we can.
Yeah. And how do you feel those songs that you've chosen from the album to play live are translating to the live stage?
They are, they are. Yeah, like I said, people are. I trickle them in between Viva La Rock and a few other songs that I do from a few albums before, and there's a few covers that we throw in. The set is good. We keep to it, talking about it with the guys. It's a good rhythm. The way we come in punching,
Yeah.
power. We do a couple of power things, and then we bring it down and do something that I do as a tribute to Ted Nugent, and the audience is participating. I insist on that constantly. And somebody was saying that it's too much, but I'm like, I'm here for the audience, man. If I see the audience participating and having a good time, that's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we could play a lot of heavy music. We could get into some heavy cuts and not connect. I don't want to do that. It's about you come, you buy the ticket, man. You want to be entertained. It's about you letting loose. It's about you having a good time. And I will do anything it takes to make sure, that you loosen up, they have a good time, disengage from all your trouble for a few hours. And that's what I get at the end of the night. I get a lot of that. I get a lot of compliments in that regards. They say, Marco, great man. I'm walking away with a smile on my face. Thank you so much. So it's cool.
Yeah, well, you can't ask for much more than that, Marco. Really, it's that sort of religious experience that you share with the band within that time frame.
Yeah.
If you're going home buzzing, then that's exactly what you came for.
Exactly. That's what it is. So far so good. And the comments that are being made are, wow, too bad that, the attendance is not, this should be 100% full. And I'm like, 80 is good. 60
Yeah.
is even good. I'm happy with that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, people are pulling complete tours off.
Yeah.
They're just, so it's your point of view. It's your ability to, I'm always a glass half full guy. Always have been, always will be. I call it the attitude of gratitude. I think I mentioned it to you before.
Yeah.
Because it's true, man. I'm grateful to be playing music anywhere, anyhow.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely. I think, especially after the back of what we've all came out of, I think gratitude is one of the biggest qualities to have, and appreciation for what you're able to do as an artist. Still being doing that today, it's a fantastic thing to be carrying on.
Very true. Very, very true. But back to the album, which is why we're doing this. It's way exceeded my expectations.
Good.
When you're doing work like that, especially somebody like me who has been paying very little attention to my solo thing because I'm lucky to be working with some major projects. It's always, you do it with all the heart you can and all the love and the pride and you put the work in, the discipline. But it's better not to have any expectations for me. So that when it's appreciated, it's good, man. It's a plus, So I'm like really happy, really, really happy.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like I need to keep going because I believe in this album. I believe in the songs. I believe in the music. And the shows are getting great reviews. The album's getting great reviews. So that's my gasoline, you know?
Yeah. And as you say, there's momentum with what you're doing at the moment and leading into bigger and better things for 2023 for yourself.
Yes. That's what it is. So, yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to announce. I'm excited about a couple of things, really excited. I've learned to, because I've also learned, you know, things can be pulled any second for whatever the reason beyond your control.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we don't jinx it, you know, we wait patiently. But I'm just thinking about it, puts a smile on my face. It's very cool. So
good.
I'm excited. But that's been my career, to be honest. It's been one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations on everything you have achieved, man. It's you've
Thank
had a
bro.
wonderful career to date, and as you say, this is another chapter in your life that you're building on. So long may it last.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate
well, look,
it.
Marco, thank you very much for your time tonight. Absolute pleasure talking to you as always. And
thank you.
We will catch up further down the line when you have those big announcements, no doubt.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon, yeah?
And just a reminder for everybody, 10-day tour kicking off tomorrow night in Swansea. Make sure you do check out marcomendoza.com for availability of tickets. Marco, thank you once again.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, take care of yourself, brother.
I'm on the cloud, floating around, looking down. Nothing but